Hey everyone, if you're new here, my name is Jake, and today I'm going to be covering how to choose a coding bootcamp. Someone went to a bootcamp and then became a software engineer. I think it's good to suggest a process to those who are interested in following a similar path in 2023. Recently, I've been creating a bootcamp curriculum reviews, but that's really just one component of the overall process, really. So it doesn't cover a lot of the other questions that should go into it, like am I someone who's going to be successful in a boot camp style course? Are there jobs available to me for the skills that are taught in this boot camp? And does this boot camp offer a quality product for its price? So I think we can get into answering some of those questions and kind of give ourselves a more general view of the whole decision process. So before we get really started, the most obvious thing to do would be confirm that you are indeed interested in becoming a software engineer, web developer, or whatever role you want to be. I assume that you've done the very lowest level of research on what these jobs are like in the daily life, and you're not like relying on glamorized videos of people eating free lunches and TikToks walking through campuses and things like that. I think you need to be a little bit realistic with yourself and really look at what the day-to-day life is like. So assuming that you have done that research and you are interested in being a software engineer for the right reasons, I think you got to confirm that you're going to be successful in a bootcamp learning style. What does that mean? Well, bootcamps may be marketed as very beginner friendly or super easy for everyone, but ultimately you're expected to absorb a huge amount of information really quickly. So they're typically taught in a format where there are lectures throughout the day, and then towards the end of the day there's some sort of like coding lab exercise where you get hands-on, you work through a set of problems. But it's really like taking like an aggressive high school class in that same aspect. So I would look back on your personal educational experience and sort of use that as a data point to decide whether or not you're going to sort of thrive in that environment. So, I mean, using myself as an example, I'll be the guinea pig here. My grades were all over the place, like all over the place. But I took several advanced classes that I was interested in, and I did really well. I excelled at them. So I knew that if I was engaged and interested in a topic, then I would be able to thrive in a fast-paced classroom sort of environment. That was something I could thrive in. But in contrast, I knew a lot of people who didn't take advanced classes and they were really studious. They kept up with their studies really consistently, but they still struggled to keep up with class. So regardless of their engagement or their interest levels with the class, they just took longer to absorb topics and really keep up. And if you're one of those people that needs that extra time to absorb and you move at a slower pace, then a coding bootcamp's really just not for you because they're taught in an aggressive, fast style. So this isn't going to be in an environment where you're going to thrive. So that's one thing you need to think about. Next, we want to understand what the local job opportunities are and if a bootcamp will prepare you for them. So you should understand that the majority of software jobs still do require some in-office work. I know that there's a push towards going fully remote in a lot of companies, mine included. That being said, the majority of them still do require some in-office work, and it will be continuing that way for a while, especially if you are entry level. They are probably going to want to see you in the office. So the other thing is that most companies don't pay you to relocate. Some big companies will pay you to relocate, but other than that, it's going to be on you, and I don't know if I would try to do that. So, I mean, especially if you're coming fresh out of a boot camp, you don't have a CS degree, you have no experience, you want to cast the widest net possible for the job market. So I wouldn't rely on fully remote jobs, and I wouldn't rely on relocating. I would get a good understanding of your local job market. Again, using me as an example, I live in Seattle, Washington. So we have Nintendo here, we have Amazon here, but more importantly, we have Microsoft Corporate's Office. And that played into my choice of bootcamp that taught .NET, which is one of their primary technologies. So it's important to think about what jobs are near you and what skills from the bootcamp will prepare you to maybe take on those opportunities. So how I would suggest going about this now is to use Indeed or another job board and look for available jobs to get a good idea of what common skills they're looking for. And then like on the other side of the coin, what technologies are like never mentioned anywhere. So like, for example, if you're going to a coding bootcamp and it's teaching you Django, but you can't find an entry-level job opportunity for Python or Django in your area, you might want to reconsider going to that boot camp. So this is kind of where the curriculum reviews I've been posting come into play, and you would maybe want to cross-reference them with the available jobs in your area. So then we want to vet the bootcamp for its quality. I mean, assuming we have the aptitude to take on the learning style and we know that the curriculum is going to give us the skills that are going to put us in a position to be desirable on the job market, we want to confirm the company running the bootcamp is going to hold up its side of the bargain. So obviously most boot camps post like testimonials on their website you can check out, but I would encourage like reaching out to old alumni on LinkedIn if you can find them. LinkedIn's a great platform and a lot of people are willing to speak about their experience at a boot camp, positive or negative. You can also use Course Report. I would just keep in mind that sometimes boot camps offer incentives for students to write positive course report reviews or positive reviews in general. So just take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, the reviews still can give a lot of good, helpful stuff. And last but not least, I mean, check the tuition prices. Compare them against other companies. They may be really pushy when they're marketing, and like if you contact them to ask them questions, they might put like a lot of pressure on you into like making a decision quickly. Because at the end of the day, they're salespeople. It's what they do. But don't let that affect your decision making. Especially you can always tell somebody that you need to sleep on it and think about it. And really think about the decision, because worst case scenario, if you complete the boot camp and it turns out hey, this isn't for me, I want to go with a different direction in my career, you want to make sure you're not drowning in debt and that doesn't stay with you forever. So you should really seriously consider the tuition prices and how you plan on paying this back. So yeah, just the last thing to think about. So sorry to end on a sad note, but yeah, that's pretty much everything. Obviously everyone has their own situation, but I feel like this advice is pretty general, so hopefully you got something useful out of it. And subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys later.